Right, are you ready?
Oh, is that okay now? Yeah, okay. I hope everyone can hear me. Hi, I'm Casey Franco. I'm the graduate assistant here at the Study Abroad Office. I am currently at Northwestern doing a master's in higher education administration. And thanks to my study abroad experience that I had in my undergrad, I went to China. Thanks to that, it got me interested in wanting to work in the Study Abroad Office, and that's why I'm here today. Do you want to do introduction?
Yeah, so hi everyone. We're doing this as a hybrid in-person virtual event. So forgive us if you see us looking multiple places. There's people all over, which is exciting. So my name is Kyle Rausch. I serve as the Executive Director of the UIC Study Abroad Office. And what brings us together today is really the fact that it's National First Generation College Student Day. I don't know if you were aware of this, but it was newer to me as of 2 years ago. And it's really a day where universities across the country are just asked to celebrate the achievements of our first generation college students. So that's exactly what we wanted to do. We started in the morning with the info table with some international candy. And today we're here to give you an overview of study abroad, especially in case you're a first generation student and have questions about how this can work, but also to share some exciting information about a scholarship for first gen students. So that's a little bit about me and what we're here for today. And maybe because we're joined by Nick, we'll let you have a chance to introduce yourself.
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me. My name is Nicholas. I'm an intern with the Study Abroad Office. I'm also a third-year student majoring in political science. I'm really happy to be here today. I think Casey will do a great job. And yeah, so thank you so much.
So let's get started. All right, like Kyle mentioned, today is National First Generation College Student Day. So we really wanted to take the opportunity of this day to celebrate. Well, I'm also a first generation college student, to celebrate everyone who was also a first generation college student. And so let's start off with our slide. All right, we're gonna do a quick little activity just to get us started before we move into the logistics. And so if you're on Zoom, there's actually a feature where you can do a thumbs up if you go to the reactions. So I wanna ask a couple of questions, and if that relates to you, I want you to either do the react, or if you're in person, you can do it with me, okay? All right. If you've ever traveled before, give a reaction. So I wanna see who's been abroad and who hasn't. I know it's like weird with actually doing a thumbs up. So, okay. All right, everyone's gone abroad, which is really nice to see. If you speak another language other than English, give a thumbs up too. I speak Spanish. Oh, Kyle. I speak Spanish, so that counts for me too. Thank you. And then, you feel strongly about a major global issue. That could be there's a wide variety. So if you feel strongly about anything, give a big thumbs up. If you want to gain any new perspective, give a big thumbs up. And if you want to participate in opportunities such as internships, research, or service learning, give a big thumbs up as well too, or your Zoom reaction. Thank you. And also, if you enjoy interacting with others from diverse backgrounds, cultures, traditions, give a big thumbs up. And if this all apply to you, that means that you want to study abroad, and you need to stay tuned as Kyle and everyone's going to review some interesting things about studying abroad. Okay. All right, so here's just we usually umbrella 3 reasons why studying abroad is very beneficial for you as a student. So we usually put them as personal, professional, and academic. So in my own experience, I studied abroad in China when I was a junior in my undergrad. So personal benefits that we like to talk about is increased confidence. A lot of people who are shy or kind of closed-minded, it's a great opportunity to open your perspectives, meet new people, and also get that self-confidence of opening up and sharing your background. You also, as you're abroad, you develop an intercultural competency. So you get to learn from so many people. You get to meet students from those countries in the local universities if you happen to do a partnership program. And also you gain direction and clarity. You get new ideas, start learning a lot of things while you're abroad. And also you get to discover new interests. You might find a new hobby or just meet a new group of friends that you never would have imagined if you were here on campus. Professional benefits, there's great variety. Either if you do an internship or service learning, you can develop so many skills. You're gonna meet new people, so you're gonna gain your networking, your circle is gonna grow definitely. And also real work experience. If you do happen to do an internship or even the classroom experience that you do abroad, it's gonna help you in something you can apply in the professional background. Both of these relate to me. I studied abroad in China, like I mentioned before, and also studying abroad helped me be a great candidate for grad school. I'm at Northwestern, so they definitely love that I talked about study abroad in my essays and also in my in-person interviews that I had to do for school. So I can attest that study abroad really helped me out as a student. And also the academic benefits. Obviously, as you go abroad, you're gonna have a chance to take courses abroad and take all the credits that you do abroad will count for UIC credit. So everything that you do abroad will count for when you come back home. And you're gonna learn new ideas and new solutions to things. So it's gonna be a really exciting time, and I hope that you all stay interested in studying abroad and continue with the opportunity for it.
All right, thanks Casey for sharing some of those thoughts. I hope some of those benefits and reasons are why some of you are here learning about study abroad today, but there are a host of other reasons that you might be considering. Because today is National First Generation College Student Day, I wanted to talk a little bit about why we think study abroad can be a great co-curricular experience for first-gen students. And I actually completed my doctoral research in studying the challenges that first-generation college students have in study abroad. I myself was a first-generation college student, so I was the first in my family to go to college. And as you heard, I studied abroad multiple times. Wasn't always easy. I definitely didn't come from a family that had money, so I had to hustle and apply for scholarships, but I wouldn't change it for anything. It's definitely led me to where I am today career-wise, given me international friend networks. In fact, 2 of my friends I met during my study abroad in Europe are coming to visit tomorrow. So it's just fun to see how this can change your life in the best of ways. So I wanted to share a little bit about what my research taught me about first-gen students in study abroad. And as you see here, one of the first things I did in my research was consult the literature and just read a lot of articles and studies that had been done about first-generation students considering studying abroad. And there were 4 main patterns or themes that emerged. And so the first is that sometimes we as first-generation students lack awareness about these opportunities or benefits just because we don't have any siblings or parents who've studied abroad, right? It's hard to know what the opportunities are if we don't have anyone to turn to ask questions about. Another concern that first-generation students often had is that they're worried that studying abroad would delay their graduation. And while this may have been the case many, many years ago, thankfully it's not true. We have programs for almost any major, and if you're planning with enough time, you can find a program that will keep you on track for graduation. The third concern they sometimes have is that maybe their family won't understand their decision to study abroad or support them. Fortunately for me, that wasn't the case because my dad was in the military, so he had experience traveling, but I've talked to a lot of students whose families just don't have a lot of international travel experience or understand why this is something that might be valuable to do in college. So one of the things that we're here to do is help give you those talking points so you can go with your families and talk about why this is a great decision for your career and your academics. And then the last point is sometimes first-generation students really need that extra encouragement from their peers, their friend groups, and from campus mentors. And so I took all of this information, this research, and what I did was while I was at my last university, Arizona State, developed a scholarship program for first-generation college students to have some funds to study abroad, but to also address these concerns. And so a little bit later in the presentation, I'm excited to unveil that scholarship and announce that we've opened the 2nd cohort, so that way you might be able to apply. Now, one other thing I love sharing about the research I did is my first group of students I worked with, I actually included them in the research process. So when they went abroad, I asked them to take their cameras and to take pictures and participate in what's called a photo voice project. And all this meant is I wanted them to take pictures of what it meant to them to be a first-generation college student abroad. They could take pictures of anything that answered that prompt. And when they returned home, we met together in a room like this and we debriefed the photos. And the students came up with a theory that they called first-generation strength, theory of first-generation strength. And what that suggests is that although we spend a lot of time maybe thinking about what we lack as first generation students or how we can improve on certain things, we neglect to remember the many strengths that we bring just by being a first generation student. In many cases, we've had to achieve things on our own, be very independent, be persistent, be resilient, right? These are all strengths that serve you well in a variety of places, but certainly when you look to go abroad, there'll be things that can help you. And so what I have here is a quote from one student I worked with at ASU. His name was Cody. Cody had grown up in a suburb of Phoenix called Mesa. He had never even been to the Grand Canyon. And so when I met with him, I said, "Where do you want to study abroad?" He said, "Beijing, China." And I about fell out of my seat. I'm like, "You haven't even been to the Grand Canyon and you want to go all the way to China?" I love it. So he signed up for a program in China and also added an internship. So not only did he study, but he did an internship in China. So you see here, he actually said, we actually had an advantage going into studying abroad because we're used to self-reliance and being able to adapt to situations. So I thought that was a really nice quote just to show you that, yeah, we all have things that we want to improve and work on, but as first generation students, we know how to get things done and succeed. So I think you all are great candidates for study abroad. So now we're just going to do a very high level overview of some information about how study abroad works at UIC. So first, I want you to know that we have a great team here in the study abroad office. In addition to our wonderful student staff who you've met today, we have 5 full-time professional staff. Each of us advises for a portfolio of programs that's either based on a country of the world, or if you're going to pursue what we call our faculty directed programs, which we'll talk about in a minute, we have portfolio assignments based on college and major. So you can find out about what programs we each advise for on our website, but we've all had experiences living, working, or studying abroad. And if you don't even know where to get started and just want to kind of chat about our experiences, we love meeting with students and sharing what we've learned and giving you some tips. So where in the world can you study? Well, as this map shows you, we are very fortunate at UIC to have many different program options. So I think our latest data is that we're in over 55 countries around the world. We have over 200 programs. So all that to say that if there's a destination you're really looking for, we hopefully have it. And if not, don't worry, let us know. We have an extensive network of partners and we're always adding new programs. So if there's some program, either major wise or country wise that you don't see, please let us know and we can talk about adding that. All right. So the next thing I wanted to overview is the types of study abroad programs we have. And this information is also on our website, so don't worry if you don't remember it, you can always find it there. But the first type of program are what we call faculty-directed programs. And these are short-term study abroad programs led by UIC professors. So you would travel with a group of UIC students and UIC professors somewhere around the world. And you would get, the way the credit works is it's very easy. Whatever class they're offering is the UIC class that you're going to get credit for. So it makes it very easy to understand what credit you're going to get. I like this program for a lot of reasons. One, I think it's a great fit for first generation college students because you're going to have that whole support structure with your professor there, your peers there, and everything's pre-planned. So you just show up on the start date of the program. Usually there's airport transfers. They take you to your housing. Your housing's all booked, your activities and field trips are booked, and you have a really great experience kind of getting to know the host city that you're living with because your faculty members there, and usually they've either been there, they've lived there, they have extensive networks there. So it's a really nice way to study abroad. Our second type of program there in the middle, you see, is what we call partnership program. And this is where UIC partners with third-party organizations who we call partners, and they offer the chance for US students to come study at their study centers somewhere around the world. In addition to taking classes at the partners study center, sometimes they have the option for you to also take some classes at a local university in case you want to get some experience taking classes as an international student abroad. And these are offered during the summer, but also semester. So if you want to go abroad for a semester, a partnership program could be a great way to do that. And then you see here, I list about course equivalencies. And that just means that you would pick what classes you want to take from their course listing. And then there's a form that we work to complete with you called a course approval form, which shows you what your UIC credit you're going to get for taking those classes. And so your academic advisor and your study abroad advisor would help you complete that process. And then our last type of program are what we call exchange programs. And I think this is sometimes the traditional model of study abroad, maybe we think of when we hear study abroad. And this is where UIC has agreements with universities all around the world. And we can send a student to study at that university for a semester or year. And in return, they send a student to study here at UIC. So one-to-one exchange. I like to say this is a great model for students who really want to immerse themselves in the local culture, because if you think about it, you'll be an international student for the semester that you're there. So you'll be taking classes with other local students who are there. But that means you probably need to have some language familiarity if you're going somewhere where English isn't the main language, just because you'll be taking classes with locals. That being said, a lot of universities are beginning to offer coursework in English. So if you do need to take some courses in English, because maybe you're not all the way fluent yet, some of our partners do have that option as well. And then of course, if you go somewhere like Australia or the UK, well, English is spoken, so you won't have to worry about that. Another neat thing about exchange programs is that you pay your regular UIC tuition. So whatever you pay to study here for a semester is what you would pay to go on an exchange program. Now, just like you have to consider housing here in Chicago, your personal spending money, then of course, those are things that you need to think about for when you live abroad, but at least the tuition piece is very easy to kind of make sense of. And then I like to say also that exchange programs offer the most choice of courses, because if you think about it, you have the entire course catalog of the host university from which you can choose classes. So going from left to right, I think you can see how on faculty directed, you've got the most robust support network, support system, all the way to exchange, which you'll still have support on site, but it's going to be a more independent, immersive experience. Okay. And then we just have a table that I think shows some of the similarities and differences between the types of programs. You see a fourth one here, we have something called direct enroll. This is just a subset of the partnership. It means you have the opportunity to take classes directly at a partner institution. You might say, well, that sounds similar to exchange. What's the difference, Kyle? The difference is on exchange, you pay your UIC tuition. On direct enroll, there's a program fee from the partner you're going to pay instead of tuition. Okay. Again, don't get too hung up on this. The main thing is just to know, depending on the kind of experience you're looking for, it might help you to know what kind of program you want to participate on. Okay. All right, well, I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about academics, since this is study abroad. So the first thing to note is that on all of our programs, you are earning UIC credit that counts towards your GPA and graduation requirements. So that fear that some students had, I mentioned earlier, about being delayed to graduation isn't the case for us, because all of our programs offer you UIC credit. Now that means you have to take your time abroad seriously. You got to go to your classes and do well, because these will come back and count towards your GPA. Okay. Mentioned already about the course approval process. Again, nothing to stress about there. We walk you through that. There's a form, you complete it with us and your academic advisor. Differences in academics abroad. So just like there's differences in food, religions, other cultural aspects, so too are there differences in the classroom. And so this is just to get you to start thinking about what this experience can be like. Now, just to give some examples, I've had some students study abroad in England, for instance, who get quite surprised when they only have one final exam in a class and no other grades. So in England, it's very customary for you to just attend lectures, take notes, study those notes, and then you have one grade, which is the final exam. And I think for many of us American students, that can be a little nerve-wracking, right? Now, this isn't the case of every program. Again, this is broad generalizations. Another example I can share is a lot of schools in Asian countries will have the style of teaching where the professor lectures at each class. Again, you're taking notes and you're expected to pretty much regurgitate word for word whatever the lecturer has told you, because they're seen as the keeper of knowledge, the expert, right? Again, a lot different than maybe what we're used to with our group work and kind of discussion-based sessions here. So I don't share those to give you panic or anything. And it's certainly not the case for every program in Asia, for instance, but it's just meant to show you that, yeah, this is going to be a learning experience. You're going to learn different cultural approaches to learning and teaching, and will help prepare you for what to expect. Okay. And then the last note I have on this slide is experiential learning. This just means that in addition to time in the classroom, you're going to be out and about seeing and doing. So the cities in which these programs are based are literally your living classroom. So one day you're taking an art history class in Florence and you're learning about the David, the next day you're going to go to the academia and you're going to see the David in person. And I think it's just a really neat way that brings what you're learning about to life. Right, so we also are more than just study abroad though. So we have programs where you can intern, you can do undergraduate research, or you can do service learning. So I wanted to take a moment and talk about these opportunities. So with our internship programs, basically you would apply to one of our partners and they would have a call with you to learn about your interests and your career goals and experiences. And then they would go out and find you an internship in one of the locations where they're based. So it takes away the struggle of you having to find your own internship. They're going to do that for you. They offer these in English speaking placements. So even if you wanted to intern in Japan, for instance, but you don't have strong Japanese skills, they can find you an English speaking company. So that way you can have your internship in English. Of course, if you have some foreign language skills, that's great. It just opens up your opportunities for placements. And then a lot of majors are willing to award academic credit for an internship. So you might be able to get some academic credit for doing this. Research. I wish I would have had an advisor tell me as an undergrad student how great it would have been to do an undergraduate research project, let alone an international research project. So we do have programs where you can take classes, but also work in an international research lab or on an international research project. And especially if you might be even considering graduate school, I know Casey mentioned how study abroad looks favorable. Doing an international undergraduate research project is going to be even more incredible on a grad school app. And I think it can help get you thinking about what you might want to do later on in graduate school. You know, what line of research do you want to kind of invest more time in? So it can be a great way to explore this. If you're in the honors college, or some other majors have what's called a capstone requirement, your international research project may be able to count as your capstone. And then lastly, we also have programs that offer service learning. Another term you might hear used is volunteer programs. So if you are interested in kind of giving back to your host community and leaving it better than it was when you arrived, then you might want to look for a program that has service learning projects. Of course, anytime we're going abroad and wanting to do good, we want to make sure we're doing this ethically and responsibly. So in every case, we make sure to work with our partners who are in touch with the local communities to understand what their needs are. That way we're not coming in there as kind of Western saviors and putting what we think they need on them. It's definitely a conversation with them. For some majors, you might be eligible to earn academic credit for a service learning project. And I just think it's a fantastic way to get to know the locals. You're going to be working alongside them and really understanding what the local challenges are. So keep those in mind as you think about studying abroad. And then because of the pandemic, we've had to get creative about how we get students international opportunities, but I'm really happy that one of the benefits from this is the development of what we're calling virtual international internships. So they work pretty similarly to what I just described with the in-person internship programs. The only difference being that you would do an online internship project with a company based abroad. So you wouldn't travel. Basically, you would meet with the partner, again, discuss your career goals and interests. They would go find an international internship that could be done virtually. You might have some live meetings, throughout your internship, but most of your work would be asynchronous, or meaning, happening maybe while it's nighttime for them and it's daytime for us. So it would be very much project-based work. In addition to the intercultural skills you would develop from this, I think another great skill set is you would be learning how to work remotely, which quite frankly, all of us are doing these days, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon for most industries. So it's another really great way to start getting some experience that's going to help you upon graduation. So keep these in mind as well as another opportunity. All right, shifting gears a bit. Hopefully I've gotten you a little bit excited to explore programs. So I want to talk about how you eventually apply. So the very first step is literally called a first step info session. So this is a slightly longer version of what we're covering today. You can do it in person here at the Study Abroad office, or entirely online. So you can start your first step application as soon as you want, even before you pick a program, and get that taken care of. Next, you want to know the application deadlines. So every program has its own application deadline. In general, if you're looking at a summer or fall program, you're going to be looking to apply in March. And if you want to apply for a spring program, you're going to look to apply in October. but some programs have slightly different deadlines, so just make sure you consult our website. Next is make sure you know the eligibility criteria. So in general, you have to at least have completed 1 semester at UIC and be in good standing with the university. But some programs may have additional eligibility requirements, such as a GPA requirement or certain coursework that you need to take abroad. So just make sure you're reviewing the information for the program webpage that you consult. Then the fun part to me is choosing your program. And I'm going to show you in a minute where you can go on our website to play around with some search tools. But there's literally hundreds of programs you can read about to find the best one for you. And our advisors are here to also help you in that process. And then once you've picked your program, there is an apply now button on every program page. You would just click that and that's what would start your online application. Okay, so let's jump on our website very quickly to show you some key areas where you can go, and we're calling it the Flames Abroad portal. So if we open up an internet browser, you can just go to studyabroad.uic.edu. And to look for programs, right in the middle here, we have Explore Programs, search for Study Abroad programs. And then we have this advanced search, which is a really powerful tool to help you narrow down your program offerings. So I think I heard earlier interest in Spain. So let's just take that as an example. So we'll choose Spain from this list of countries. And then let's say you talked with your academic advisor and they said, you know, for your major, the summer is really the best time for you to go abroad. So we'll select summer from here and we'll just go ahead and press search and see what we get. So right away, you see that takes our over 200 programs list and makes it much more manageable list of, I don't know, about 20 or so programs in Spain for the summer. And then each program would have its own page. And so you could kind of click into it and start learning about the program to see if this is the one you want to apply for. Every program has a similar template. So to navigate, you just click on these tabs and you can read about the relevant information. Academics is always going to be where you have information about the host study center. Oops, hopefully it comes back on. Sorry, online folks, we've got some technical issues here in person. Bear with us one moment. All right, we're gonna power that back on, but I'll try and keep going for now. So I was just saying our website has these tabs and you'll find course information under the academics tab. That doesn't sound good. And we have the finances tab, which has financial information. Okay. All right, moving on. So we wanted to highlight some programs that we think are a good fit for first generation college students, and don't feel like you're limited to these. These are just, again, going back to what we know some of the concerns students have, some programs we thought could be a good fit. And really, that's all of our faculty directed programs. Again, I think they're a fantastic first kind of study abroad experience for students who haven't studied abroad before or traveled on their own. So first on the screen, you have our Spring Break 2022 programs that are led by faculty. We've got a program traveling to France that's out of the psychology department, looking at gender-based violence, racism, and inclusion. We have a really popular program going to the UK called Pop, Art, and Culture that rocked British society in the 1960s, and this is from the Honors College. We have a kinesiology program that will travel to Cambridge and take classes at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge. And then we have a brand new program from the College of Education, but open to all students that will be traveling to Brazil, looking at education, globalization, and the child. And this one is still accepting applications for spring break, so through December 6th. And then we've got our summer faculty directed programs. As you can see, we've got quite a few, so I'll just kind of go through. We've got design in India, field ecology in Ecuador, independent publishing in Mexico City. We've got Spanish language in Oaxaca, Mexico. We've got kind of a sociological program in Puerto Rico. Dublin internship. So we have a faculty directed program that will travel to Ireland where you can do an internship. We've got a program in Rwanda from the College of Nursing looking at child and maternal health. We have a kinesiology program in Israel, disaster preparedness in the Caribbean at the island nations of St. Kitts and Nevis, Italian language and culture in Salerno and Siena, Italy, social services internships in Paris, global supply chain management in Mexico, culture and health in Spain, which will have a nursing focus. We have urban sustainability and livability in Copenhagen, Denmark, understanding Korean history, culture, and society in South Korea, and Spanish culture through food, language, literature, and art in Spain. I don't know about you, but I've got my summer plans now between one of those programs. There's so many exciting topics and places to go. So keep those in mind. And the other thing is our list of faculty directed programs changes every year. Most of these will probably be offered on a routine basis, but every year we have new faculty propose new programs. So if you can't go abroad this year, don't worry, keep this on your radar to check for next year. Okay, so I mentioned at the start of the workshop that we have an exciting announcement. So earlier this year, we launched a brand new scholarship called the Chancellor's First Gen Flames Abroad Scholarship. And this scholarship came from a generous donation from Chancellor Michael Emeritus, who wanted to create a scholarship for UIC students. And so what we did is develop the scholarship for first generation college students who are in their first year at UIC. So if that's you, definitely listen up. Basically, the application is going to open up in the spring and you would apply for it and find out at the end of the spring semester if you get this scholarship. And then you have the rest of your time at UIC to use it towards a study abroad program. And that's a really unique approach for a study abroad scholarship because most study abroad scholarships are what I call just in time money, meaning you usually have to apply for your study abroad program, then you apply for a scholarship, and then you wait, and pretty much the day before you get on the plane, you might find out if you get a scholarship, right? And it would have been helpful to know that when you applied to your program, right? So in this case, you find out, again, at the end of the spring semester, if you get it, and you have the rest of your time at UIC to use it. In addition to the scholarship, you participate in a series of workshops as a cohort, so you'll get to meet other first generation college students, and those workshops will address some of the concerns I mentioned earlier and just help you prepare for your study abroad experience. That's a really nice, I think, series of events to help you feel more confident in studying abroad. Now, the amount of the scholarship will depend on the length of the program you select. So you see it ranges from about $1,600 to $2,600, okay? And then in terms of eligibility, our preference is for first generation college students. So students who are the first in their families to go to college. You need to be a degree seeking undergrad UIC student who's in their first or second semester at UIC. You will have to have completed 12 credits by the end of next semester. You need to have a FAFSA on file or the alternative application for Illinois financial aid. And then you have to be in good academic standing with the university, which just means you did okay in your classes and you haven't gotten in trouble. And then the other detail is that this scholarship can only be used on a faculty directed or an exchange program, okay? So the application process for this scholarship, again, it's going to open up in the spring, so you can't apply for it yet, but come spring semester, you'll be able to find it in SNAP. So that's the university's main scholarship database. And the application is pretty straightforward. The biggest thing are 2 essays that you have to respond to. So you can either do a written essay, or if you're more creative and you want to take a video approach, you can do a video response, okay? And we are very fortunate today to have 2 students who were part of the first cohort who received this scholarship earlier this year. So I'd like to invite both of them to unmute themselves and to introduce themselves. So perhaps we can have Megan go first.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan. I am a senior here at UIC and I transferred last fall 2020 once the pandemic hit, and I decided to study abroad because my family only does abroad only in the Philippines. So I've only been in the Philippines all my life and never been to other different countries. And since I was taking French 18th century art because I'm an art history major, it really led me to want to go to France and like other museums in Europe, such as like in Birmingham or in Italy, and see the museums that they have there. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Megan. And Ivan, a quick intro.
Hey, so I'm Ivan. I'm a sophomore, and the reason I decided to study abroad is because going into college, like I always knew like that's what I wanted to do, But I had financial concerns, like I couldn't pay for it. It's pretty expensive, as you can see. But my roommate, he actually told me about this. He's like, check your email. They're giving out a scholarship for first gen students. I'm like, okay, let me see this. Let me apply to it. And something that like I'm really looking forward to for studying abroad is like when I do decide to like go to my programs, like I want to go to Italy. And so like the thing I'm most looking forward to is like that moment where I'm like, whoa, like I'm actually here. Like I'm not in the States, I'm not in Chicago, I'm in this European country all by myself with like other students. So pretty excited for that.
Great, thank you both so much. And I know it seems like a long time ago, but if you reach back in your memory when you were applying for this scholarship, do you have any words of encouragement or tips for our students here today who might want to apply?
So I can say something about that. So obviously like everybody's situation is different, but for me, what I think helped most with my application when in the essay part was just putting like my personal experiences and like my upbringing and like how like I'd benefit from this and like how I could possibly like start like a change in the the community I come from. So like my experiences and like what that can do for other people, that really, I feel like that really helped with my essay.
Really good pointers. In fact, I think one of the essay questions touches on aspects of your identity and how, you feel like you're a unique candidate for study abroad. So being willing to kind of be a little bit vulnerable and share about your background, that definitely looks favorable on the application. Megan, what about you? Do you want to share any tips or something you're looking forward to about study abroad?
Yeah, for me, I wrote about like how studying abroad will benefit me as an individual and as well as like how it will challenge me. Especially it's like studying abroad, it will benefit you academically and professionally, but also like personally, because you will be growing, you will be gaining new experiences that you've never really gained here in the US. You will be learning a new culture. It will be very, very different and you will grow as a person. And versus how it will challenge you, it will very much challenge you, just like the environment. There may be language barriers, which is totally fine. It's always great to learn a new culture, new languages. And what was the other question, Kyle? Sorry.
Oh, just something you're looking forward to for your study abroad.
Yeah, something I am looking forward to is pretty much exploring. I do love exploring and as well as meeting new people. So growing my network further.
Excellent. Well, while we've got them on the call, does any of our student participants have any questions for our scholarship recipients? Keep in mind, they haven't stayed abroad yet, but.
For us, do you have any questions?
All right, well, think of your questions. We have just a few more slides, so we'll definitely have time at the end for questions, but thanks, Megan and Ivan, for your perspectives. All right, let's jump back into our presentation. Okay, so we got to talk a little bit more about funding because I know this is the #1 concern most students have with study abroad. And although that first gen Flames Abroad scholarship is great, it's probably not going to cover the entire experience. So the good news is there are lots of other funding resources. Now you see here, first, the exciting note that we calculated it a couple years ago, and UIC students have actually earned over $1 million in scholarships and grants to study abroad, just our students. So I think that's a really good data point to show you there's a lot of funding out there for study abroad. The other thing on this slide I like pointing out is this chart. One of the very first things I did when I came to UIC last year was I wanted to find out on average what our semester programs cost, because a lot of times students don't even come talk to us because they're like, there's no way, study abroad's too expensive. So we ran the numbers, and as you can see, this first bar with the UIC logo represents what an average in-state student pays for a semester at UIC, so it's just under $15,000. And when we say cost of attendance, we mean tuition, we mean fees, we mean living expenses. It's the true cost for what it would be to study and live at UIC. And you see here, the first bar with the globe on it is the average low study abroad cost. So that means on average, we have programs that cost less than $10,000 for a semester. So you could actually save money by studying abroad on certain programs, which just blew my mind away. Then our next UIC bar represents the average cost of attendance for out of state. So no worries, even if you're out of state, of course, it costs a little bit more. It looks like it's just above $20,000. But you see here, the second globe bar is our average mid-study abroad cost, which is just over $15,000. So for our out-of-state students, we also have programs that are cheaper than what it would cost to study here at a semester at UIC. And then of course, the last globe would be our average high study abroad cost, which is just a little over 20,000, which still is right around what some of our out-of-state students pay. So this graph to me just was a really nice way to visualize that study abroad does not have to cost more money than it does to study here at UIC. Now, that being said, we still have other scholarships that you can apply for. Our office has scholarships. Departments across campus, such as the Honors College or Liberal Arts and Sciences, have their own study abroad scholarships. So ask your advisor, and oftentimes they can point you in the direction of funding. Then in addition, if you choose to do a partnership program, many of our partners have their own scholarships and discounts that you can be eligible for. But then we also do a lot of advising on national scholarships. And the Gilman International Scholarship is a very important one I want you to know about, especially if you receive a Pell Grant. So if you receive a Pell Grant, you should apply for Gilman because you will be very competitive. UIC students are very successful at winning this national scholarship each year. And then myself and one of my colleagues, Marley, we actually help students on their Gilman application. So we'll work with you on your essays, we'll provide you revisions on those. And if you work with us, students are a lot more successful at earning the Gilman scholarship. Gilman funds up to $5,000 or $8,000 if you're studying a critical need language. And then they also have a scholarship called Gilman McCain, which would be if one of your parents currently serves in the military. Okay, so that's just an example of some national scholarships, but there are others. And then the last thing to know is that in addition to scholarships, you can use your federal financial aid to help afford study abroad. So if you do your FAFSA each year, then you might be eligible to use some grants or loans to help afford study abroad. Okay. All right, almost done. I just want to wrap up by letting you know, hopefully we've gotten you a little excited to look into study abroad. So if so, here are your next steps. The first being, if you are a first generation, first year student, then look for that announcement coming early spring to apply for the First Gen Flames Abroad Scholarship. You'll have most of the spring semester to apply. I'm betting that the deadline will probably fall sometime in April, okay? Then you want to attend a first step presentation. And we'll send this presentation out so you have access to all the links included, but you can also find it on our website. Talk to your academic advisor. Even if you don't know yet what program you want to go on, it's a good idea to let them know you're thinking about study abroad and you want to find out when the best semester would be, as well as any classes that you might be able to hold on to for your study abroad. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you have electives still to take and you can hold those for your study abroad semester, that's going to give you a lot more options of programs to take versus if you just do your electives now and only have your major classes, it might be a little bit more difficult to find a program that can give you only major classes, okay? Then you'll jump on our website and you'll get to start doing fun work by looking at all the programs we have and where you want to go. And you can also start researching our scholarship information. And then once you've selected the program you're interested in, you can make an appointment with one of our study abroad advisors via iAdvise. Or if you need help kind of figuring out what program you want to go on, you can email us and meet with Maggie, our kind of lead advisor up front, and she's happy to sit down with you and talk about some options, okay? Well, that is what we have prepared today. So I know it was a lot of information, but I hope it was helpful. Really grateful that Ivan and Megan as well for sharing their perspectives, but we've got a few more minutes now. So if anyone has questions for any of us, we're happy to take those. Feel free to unmute yourself, put it in the chat, and of course our students here in person can just ask.
Do you have any questions, comments, concerns? No? You okay? Any information about scholarship or anything you want to know more? Do you have any flyers or anything or brochures?
No, we're all out of our brochures. We're gonna
No.
order more of those. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just curious for our students on the call, where are we thinking we might want to go study abroad? Put it in the chat. I've heard you're in Spain, and then did you have a destination?
I was looking at Ireland
Ireland, very cool. Ireland's beautiful. So we've got Spain, Ireland, where else? Ivan, I heard Italy. Megan, I know we've talked before, France.
You want to go to Korea?
We've got Korea in the room.
Okay.
No worries. Well, I won't keep you guys anymore. Thanks everyone for making time to attend today. Again, we'll aim to get a copy of the presentation out so you have this information, but just really appreciate you coming out to celebrate National First Generation College Student Day today. And thanks to Nick and Casey for helping organize. All right. Well, have a good day, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye.